Welcome to the Wampus Elementary School Principal Coffee, April 16th, 2020. The focus for today's coffee is on e-learning. And I'm going to quote throughout the coffee one of my favorite authors, Brené Brown, and her work with being vulnerable and having courage. Brené Brown says that daring greatly means the courage to be vulnerable. It means to show up and to be seen, to ask for what you need, to talk about how you are feeling, and to have the hard conversations. As a mother of 4 children, 3 are in high school and 1 who's in elementary school, I understand the challenges of e-learning as a caregiver. I also am learning a lot about e-learning as the principal of Wampus, making sure that our children are getting what they need from each and every one of us. Raising children who are hopeful and who have the courage to be vulnerable means stepping back and letting them experience disappointment, deal with conflict, learn how to assert themselves, and have the opportunity to fail. If we are always following our children into the arena, hushing the critics, and assuring their victory, they'll never learn that they have the ability to dare greatly on their own. E-learning is perhaps one of the most opportune times to talk about taking those risks. As this presentation unfolds, I hope that I am able to give that to you to help our children learn how to dare greatly. All of our children are now using Google Classroom for their lessons. What can you expect? You can expect that all the assignments are created there and the exchange happens in the classroom between the teacher and the child. When children log on, they see upcoming assignments, important events, teacher announcements, student questions. All the children will also submit their work directly, and teachers will provide feedback right in the Google Classroom. That's where all the work is organized and stored. It's important for you to communicate with your child's teacher through Google Classroom. Children receive a notification when a new assignment is posted, and your child needs to keep his or her own schedule when an assignment is due. You can and should use the tech support hotline if you are having any trouble with Google Classroom. How can you best prepare for the home learning environment? It's a daily effort. You need to make sure that the learning space you have created for your child or your child has created with you works. So build it and refine it as needed to make sure the learning space is a good space for your child. Promote positive behaviors. We spend a great deal of time in schools focusing on positive behaviors that promote growth. Please continue to use positive behaviors to support your child. You know your child best, and when you look at the assignments, break them down into manageable parts and make a schedule for your child. One gift during all of this is really slowing down and making sure that our children are reading and watching videos so that they understand the objective. Too often in this world, we tend to go fast and we don't do a simple skill of reading for understanding. Right now, today, and every day in e-learning, please make sure that your child is reading and or watching the video so that they understand the objective of what is expected for them in each and every assignment. Encourage quality work. We often ask our children, is that your best work? Did you put your best effort forward? That needs to be a daily reminder with each and every activity. Now, all of those things that I just mentioned really can't happen unless you have the 3 pillars for a good, healthy mind and body. It's really important that we get exercise and we eat healthy and that bedtime routines are adhered to. More than ever, our children need strong bedtime routines. Supports for social emotional well-being. We need to make sure that we have structures that feel comfortable and normal to ourselves and to our children. Set time aside for lunch. Create unity to foster connections, whether it's with grandparents, aunts, uncles, cousins, neighbors. Make sure that you're fostering these connections and your children are fostering them too. Even though it's a time of social isolation, we can still work on staying connected to one another. Have balance. Please make sure you put time in for kids to have fun. They have to have fun. That's what helps them stay focused on good work. During this time, the other thing that we can have our children do is really start to practice lifelong life skills. It's springtime. Have them go out in the yard and pick up the twigs. Bring out the garbage once a week. Empty the dishwasher. Set the table. All the things that we wish we had time for in the hecticness of the normal life. Today with e-learning and the opportunity for things to slow down, these things we should be honed so that our children start to appreciate them. And in appreciating doing these life skills, they will start to develop gratitude. It's important that we model gratitude for our children so that all of us recognize the gifts we have around. And at the end of each day or at the start of each new day, don't forget to reflect in how you were and how that's going to help you become a better version of yourself. Really important is to be vigilant about current events on the TV. Our children hear everything they probably shouldn't hear. So be careful with what you have going on the TV with the virus. We don't need to cause undue anxiety or worry for them. To continue to support you as caregivers, one of the best things you can do is to ask questions. Please reach out to us should you have any questions about anything with e-learning. We're here for you and we are your partners in this. Some questions that we have received are, what should the order of assignments be? Or how much time is needed to complete an assignment? Ask these questions if you're not sure. Better yet, ask your child to ask the questions. What materials are needed? How long should the assignments take? There is no question that you cannot ask us. We are here to work together with you to make sure our children are getting what they need in e-learning. Your feedback helps us get better. So continue to bring your questions forward. Other questions that I've heard is, how can the schedule be revised to support my child? We've tried to create a flexible expectations for the schedule so we meet the needs of every single home environment, from parents needing to do e-learning on Saturday and Sundays because they're essential workers, to parents needing to do e-learning in the evening because they're teachers, to parents needing to do e-learning on certain days and not others because of other children in the home environment. So the schedule that you create for your child needs to work for you, but communicate with us if there's any way we can support you with implementing a schedule for your child. Other questions we received are, how is learning blended from teacher direction to guided practice to independent practice? Please pick up the phone and call us and talk to us so that you understand the expectation. In the elementary schools, children receive direct instruction for about 8 to 12 minutes in a discipline. The rest of that time, they are really spent applying and practicing the skills that were directly taught to them so that they internalize them and they make these skills part of their intrinsic knowledge. Supports for you. I know that balancing work, childcare, and self-care are hard. I'm doing it every day, and it is a challenge. So just some thoughts to help you continue to stay positive and happy with everyone in your home and yourself. Confidence. Grow your confidence in navigating Google Classroom for assignments, announcements, and feedback. The more confident you are, the more confident our children are. Advocacy. Teach your child to advocate for themselves in e-learning by encouraging them. If they see you advocate for them, they in turn will be better advocators. Accountability. Make sure that your child is accountable to their work, that they produce quality work, that they're on time for their Google Meets, that they're accountable to their assignments. And then model clear communication. If there's something that you're not understanding, let your child see how you communicate with your teacher and myself or Mr. Mack. And finally, celebrate. Every one of us needs to pat ourselves on the back, and our children need to see us celebrating each and every day.
Thank you, Mrs. McInerney. And for those of you listening at home, this is Mr. Mack, the assistant principal of Wampus Elementary School. I wanted to take a couple minutes to talk to you about some of the work we've been doing with your children on a grander scale through announcements and community meetings. Back on the very first announcement of e-learning, we spoke a little bit about something Dr. Mark Brackett wrote about in his most recent book, Permission to Feel. He wrote that corporations are looking more for employees these days that are flexible compared to any other skill. After our most recent community meeting that was posted on Tuesday, April 14th, we asked the students several questions. One question was, why is being flexible so important? And on the screen, you can see some of their answers. I appreciate the ones that especially talk to being confident, helping you being successful in life. And the top one, I think it is important because if you aren't flexible, then if something that you don't like comes your way, you won't be able to deal with it. It really speaks to our current situation. Another questions the students were asked in a true or false form were, do they have any new responsibilities since we've started to engage in e-learning? And overwhelmingly, almost 85% of the students have said yes, they have new responsibilities. And again, on the side are some of the examples that they added to the form. The last question the students were asked was, what have you learned about yourself during this time? And again, on the right, there are some of the responses. The last one, I believe, is my favorite. That learning to be flexible is something that can help you to be your better self. I think that's a nice summary of what the students are engaging in and how they're working hard to be flexible, and we appreciated their participation in this survey. We want to again thank you for joining us during this Principal's Coffee. If you have any questions or any comments at all, please feel free to reach out to us, and we hope that you and your families are staying safe, and we hope to see you back at 41 Wampus Avenue very soon.